So I'm delighted and honored this afternoon to welcome all of you to our annual Multireligious Service of Thanksgiving at the Harvard Divinity School. This is the first of our two ceremonies marking commencement. Please join us after the service for a reception back in the Divinity School on the lawns outside. The most thankful among us are those of you who are about to receive your well-earned degrees tomorrow. Congratulations, class of 2013. We're very proud of you. Everyone here, your parents, relatives, friends, loved ones, join me in giving thanks for you, for who you are, for what you've become, for what you've accomplished, and particularly for what you're going to accomplish in the future. This afternoon, we're not so much celebrating an ending, more of a transition. The last chapter of my favorite novel, George Eliot's Middlemarch, opens with this sentence as the novelist in the best Victorian tradition bids farewell to her own invented characters. She writes, "Every limit is a beginning as well as an ending. Who can quit young lives after being so long in their company and not desire to know what will befall them in their after years?" I am very confident that whatever will befall you will have the effect of making the world a better place. My confidence comes not only from my knowledge of your characters and the compassionate community you've created at HDS these past years, but also from the example of your predecessors as HDS graduates. Nothing has given me greater pleasure in my first year as dean as getting to know our graduates all over the country and all around the world, whose diffusive impact for their greater good is really incalculable. May you join also in what George Eliot has called deeds of daring rectitude and in scorn for miserable aims that end only with self. During your time at HDS, you embrace with your teachers and staff our statement of community values. I want to leave you with these words as you become ambassadors for these values in the wider world. Hear these words that we all signed up to and attend to them. Quote, "We seek to respect, understand, and learn from the cultures and beliefs of the members of our diverse community. In seeking the long-term welfare of all, we endeavor to accept responsibility for the impact of our actions on our community, our environment, and the world. Finally, we endeavor to build a community and ultimately a world in which people can peacefully live and work together across religious and cultural divides." As the past year has shown, especially in Boston, these values have never been more needed. Today's service is itself an expression of the multi-religious and diverse nature of our school, its curriculum, and its spiritual life. So come celebrate with us now, for tomorrow will be an even brighter new day. Thank you. I should pause for a moment. In the program, there ought to have been a welcome now from Jonathan Walton, the Plummer Professor of Christian Morals and Pusey Minister in the Memorial Church and Professor of Religion and Society. Jonathan damaged his Achilles tendon playing basketball and is now laid low waiting for surgical repair, so he can't be with us. So in his absence, good afternoon, beautiful people. We're so glad you're with us today. So let's keep Jonathan in our minds and prayers over the next few days. Thank you.
Arham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Etavata Chamhei Sambatam Punya Sampadang Sabe Deva Numodantu Saba Sampati Siddhya Etavata Chamhei Sambatam Punya Sampadam Sabe Satanumodantu Saba Sampati Siddhya Etavata Chamhei Sambatam Punya Sampadang Sabe Bhutanumodantu Saba Sampati Siddhya Idam Menatinam Hodu Sukhita Hondu Nyatayo.
Breath carries life. All that is alive breathes. It is the first and simplest miracle of our lives. And when we breathe, we share in the experiences of every living being that came before us, every one of our relations. With that in mind, I'd like to invite you to breathe. Put your feet on the ground and set your papers aside. And spend a moment breathing with me. Feel your feet. Feel the floor beneath you and the earth beneath it. Breathe in and feel the breath down to your toes. Breathe out and feel it to the tip of your head flowing out of you. We are all breathing together here. We are all here together, and together we are powerful. We are all here to give thanks on our journey together. Breathe and feel that. We are here to look forward with hope and joy to the journeys that we will make. Breathing our unity, breathing our common purpose, breathing in the power of our shared intention today, breathing with the earth and all that is alive, and joy, and breathing with each other, breathing in and out the sacred. As we breathe together, we grow together. We have been growing together our whole lives. We have been growing together every day at HDS. And even as we prepare to go apart, we are still growing. Breathe and remember that as we go apart and together, we will grow apart and together. Blessed be.
I am going to offer libations. Libations are an African diasporic tradition which calls for and honors our deity or deities and our beloved ancestors. With water, beautiful water, symbolizing purification and transition, bringing together Africa and the Americas, life and death, the real and the magical, sacred and profane, our history, our heritage, our origins. We humbly want to acknowledge the people in our lives that we've lost. We say the word Ashe, of Yoruba origin, meaning power, command, and authority. We feed and we are fed. We acknowledge our dependence on the spirits as they are dependent upon us. The cycle of life, death is non-ending, and the honor and the respect we give each other nourishes us all into our very basic humanity. And with this, we recognize everyone's dignity. So as I finish pouring and saying the blessings, please join me in saying Ashe. So let us practice. Ashe. Perfect. For our ancestors of the distant past. Ashe. For our recent living dead. Ashe. For our living. Ashe. And for our yet unborn. Ashe. Thank you.
I'll be reciting a verse from the Quran, considered a speech of God by Muslims around the world. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤت الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب صدق الله العظيم.
Seek ye diligently, and teach one another words of wisdom. Yea, seek ye out of the best books words of wisdom. Seek learning, even by study and also by faith. Organize yourselves, prepare every needful thing, and establish a house, even a house of prayer, a house of fasting, a house of faith, a house of learning, a house of glory, a house of order, a house of God, that your incomings may be in the name of the Lord, that your outgoings may be in the name of the Lord, that all your salutations may be in the name of the Lord, with uplifted hands unto the Most High. Appoint among yourselves a teacher, and let not all be spokesmen at once, but let one speak at a time, and let all listen unto his sayings, that when all have spoken, that all may be edified of all, and that every one may have an equal privilege. See that ye love one another, cease to be covetous, learn to impart one to another as the gospel requires. Cease to be idle, cease to be unclean, cease to find fault one with another, cease to sleep longer than is needful. Retire to thy bed early, that ye may not be weary. Arise early, that your bodies and your minds may be invigorated. And above all things, clothe yourself with the bond of charity, as with a mantle, which is the bond of perfectness and peace. Pray always that ye may not faint until I come. Amen.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with majesty and splendor.
You wrap yourself with light as with a cloak, and stretch out the heavens like a tent.
You lay the beams of your chambers in the waters above. You make the clouds your chariot. You ride on the wings of the wind.
You make the winds your messengers, and flames of fire your servants.
You set the earth upon its foundations, so that from now until forever it shall never be moved.
You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains.
You made the springs into rivers that flow between the mountains.
All the animals drink their fill from them, and the wild donkeys quench their thirst.
Beside them, the birds of the air make their nests. Among the branches, they lift their voice.
From your dwelling on high, you water the mountains. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works.
You make grass grow for the cattle and plants to serve humankind, that they may bring forth food from the earth.
Wine to gladden human hearts, oil to make the face shine, and bread to strengthen the human heart.
How manifold are your works, O Lord! In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your creatures.
Yonder is the sea, great and wide, with its swarms too many to number, living things both small and great.
All look to you to give them their food in due season.
You give it to them. They gather it. You open your hand, and they are filled with good things. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Hallelujah.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when darkness comes and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down.
When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will be there to comfort you. I'll take your part when darkness comes and pain is all around, and like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down.
Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, and if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled waters. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled waters. I will lay me down.
Humanists find exuberance to be intrinsically worthwhile for its own sake. This is usually identified with happiness. The Greeks called it eudaimonia, or well-being. This meant the actualization of a person's nature, with pleasure as a byproduct, not for the solitary moment, but a complete life. It entails some moderation of a person's desires. But I add joyful exuberance. There is high excitement, the intensity of living, throbbing with passion, engaging in daring activities of enterprise and adventure. Joyful exuberance is enhanced when we not only fulfill our needs and wants, but creatively express our goals and aspirations. It denotes some degree of excellence, nobility. It comes to fruition for those who find life intensely worth living and at times exhilarating. More than that, it involves a flowering of one's personality in that person's own terms. And in its highest reaches, it expresses the fullness and richness of living. This is most eloquently achieved when there is moral growth and development. A person is able to appreciate the needs of others, to relate to them, to love and be loved, to share and even make sacrifices for others' benefit. There are 3 E words that describe this state: excellence, eudaimonia, and exuberance. And there are 5 C words that define it: character, cognition, courage, creativity, and caring.
Afoot and light-hearted, I taked the open road. Healthy, free, the world before me, the long brown path before me leading wherever I choose. Henceforth I ask not good fortune, I myself am good fortune. Henceforth I whimper no more, postpone no more, need nothing. Done with indoor complaints, libraries, querulous criticisms. Strong and content, I travel the open road. The earth, that is sufficient. I do not want the constellations any nearer. I know they are very well where they are. I know they suffice for those who belong to them. Still, here I carry my own delicious burdens. I carry them, men and women. I carry them with me wherever I go. I swear it is impossible for me to get rid of them. I am filled with them, and I will fill them in return. From this hour, I ordain myself, loosed of limits and imaginary lines, going where I list, my own master, total and absolute, listening to others, considering well what they say, pausing, searching, receiving, contemplating, gently, but with undeniable will, divesting myself of the holds that will hold me. I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine. The north and the south are mine. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. All seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women, you have done such good to me, and I would do the same for you. I will recruit for myself and you as I go. I will scatter myself among men and women as I go. I will toss a new gladness and roughness among them. Whoever denies me, it shall not trouble me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be blessed and shall bless me.
A reading from St. Teresa of Avila. Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks, compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands. Yours are the feet. Yours are the eyes. You are his body. Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks, compassion on this world. Christ has no body now on earth but yours.
Peace be to this house. But before I begin, I want to scold two people here, Jeremy and David. Remember that dyspeptic HTP exam? If you guys had serenaded me, we could have negotiated it. I had no idea. Thank you. And thank you all for your prayers and wonderful words. Dean Hempton, class of 2013, members of the faculty, families and friends, thank you very much for the honor that you've given me to address the class of 2013 on the eve of graduating from Harvard Divinity School. Tomorrow you, the members of the class of 2013, will be called by your name to approach the stage to receive your diplomas. What does this portend? What does it mean to be called? There is a story told about callings and vocations. Rabbi Yehuda Lo ben Bezalel, the greatest rabbi of his age in Europe, the man who created the golem, had a dream one night. He dreamed that he died and was standing before the angel guarding the throne. And the angel asked, "Who are you?" And the rabbi said, "I am Rabbi Yehuda of Prague, the maker of the golem. Is my name among those who will behold the holiest of all?" And the angel said, "I will read the names of all who have died today, and who have a share, therefore, in the life of the divine." Thousands of names were read, yet Rabbi Yehuda's name was not among them. As each name was called, the rabbi saw those spirits fly into the waiting arms of divine love. At this sight, he wept bitterly and asked why his name was not called. The angel replied, "Your name was called." Rabbi Yehuda said, "I did not hear it." And the angel said, "In this book are the names of every woman, man, and child that has ever lived. Each has a share in the divine glory. Each will be called. But they have to know their true name to be able to hear it when called. Before you die, someone has to call your true name. If not, you have to wait here until the day you hear the glory of the universe itself call your name." And Rabbi Yehuda woke up, wept, and prayed, "Master of the universe, grant that today or tomorrow or the next day, someone will call me my true name, so that I will be able to hear my name called when standing in your presence." This is the story of human being. To be called is to know who you are, truly, because you are called by another here, in this now. My hope for you today, tomorrow, and always is that you will hear your true name called. Your own call to me came the week of the chaos that defined the Boston Marathon this year. Like you, I spent the better part of that week in grief at the multiple failures of secular, political, and religious imagination that brought us to question again what it means for us to claim that we are human beings and what it means for us to claim that we are human beings together. In the face of such an implosion of the secular and religious, you, the class of 2013, have put flesh on the idea of vocations and callings. Calling and vocation, I submit a new definition. These are now responses to human failings, both religious and democratic. There are three dimensions here. First is the practical orientation of your generation, the spiritual but not religious folks. You have not shied away from the time-consuming and exhausting work of practical conversation. That is, your ethics is directed in a material frame. Material ethics, as you have shown, reveals the structured forms of human knowledge and truth. Acting and living, therefore, are choices that depend on a condition, the condition of feasibility. We choose because we are able. Desire is already constructed. But the reflexivity you bring to your conversation attends to the profound exteriority that ought to govern human action, knowledge, and truth. It is a practical spirituality in which speech for myself is inseparable from speech for another. To extend this point, your fierce commitment and love for the beauty of the human person and to human being shows that you have not been seduced by technological regimes of truth and knowledge. And here is the continuing pull and challenge of vocation today. Your quest, our quest for truth and knowledge cannot be undertaken without love, and this love must persist despite human failing. Another implication of your way of attending to the world demands that public and political theology be demythologized to assist in the messy human endeavor of living. Theology and spirituality are more than the language or experience of interiority, and more than a reading of the world past or present. You are aware that the journeys to interiority as well as to interpretation can be beset by delusion. Only a practical spirituality will give texture and depth to the critical theories of the academy: deconstructionist, Marxist, feminist, post-colonial. Only a practical spirituality will be able to envision a world and a society without victims. Practical spirituality in this way is negative, necessary, deconstructive praxis. And the task that remains for the intellectual and spiritual journey is to empower yourself and others in a persistent critique of contemporary proposals for human and ecological coexistence. The challenge of our global world is to acknowledge the partiality of those visions in the face of contending modernities, epistemologies, and philosophies. Our collective grief over religious and political violence marks the third dimension of vocation. We grieve because it is evident that our human collective projects of democracy, liberal inclusion and pluralism, humanism, religious identity and community, and the broken promises of independence and nationalism continue to lead to multiple expressions of violence. There are many vectors of failure here. In contrast, your prayers and generous acts of hospitality have shown that responding to violence with violence is not an option. Religious traditions here present us with radical resources of personal transformation, peace, forgiveness, and reconciliation. Islam, for example, of absolute and utter submission to God. Christians of the scandal of the cross, a reminder of sin and depravity. Jewish communities of the reality of exile and separation from the divine. Hindus and Buddhists of following the Dharma precisely when contingent and immediate failure is crystal clear. Other traditions, including those not explicitly religious, present the human and more than human world as relativizing of self-aggrandizing appetites. Your continuing challenge is to negotiate the seeming polarities of religious and secular visions, vying violently sometimes for supremacy in the public square. Our multi-religious service of Thanksgiving here is a foretaste of that possibility. We can give thanks together. May we not search for peace together, now, urgently? It is not easy, nonetheless, to respond to the call for human being. In his 7-Story Mountain, Thomas Merton speaks of his journey to the Trappist monastery in Gethsemane in Kentucky. Hearing a call generally leads people to pray, and Merton prays in this way. Please help me. What am I going to do? I cannot go on like this. Look at the state I am in. What should I do? Show me the way. And his memoir continues. He reflects, as if I needed more information or some kind of sign. It was getting precariously near to the wrong way to pray, making indefinite promises that I did not quite understand, asking for some kind of magical sign. One can really mess up the call. Miraculously, he imagines that he hears the bells of Gethsemane ring, and he arrives at a decision to join the abbey. However, as soon as he wrote to ask permission to join, he receives a letter from the US Military Draft Board telling him to appear for a medical exam to clear him for service in the army. And lo and behold, he goes into even more dramatics. Why, he asks, why was Providence being so deliberately cruel? Why is my vocation being snatched from me one moment after I'm sure of what I want to do? I think I pray this every day. It was the first week of December 1941, hours before the US entered the fray of World War II. In anguish, he turns to a friend, a friar, Father Philotheus Berner, a mentor and a friend who said, I think this is a very good sign as far as your vocation is concerned. The friar's cryptic comment reveals something important. In the 7-story mountain, military draft and the choice to enter the abbey at Gethsemane are not presented as stark contrasts. Merton confesses that he could have gone either way. In fact, he makes a weak and cowardly choice. Fortuitously, the draft notice was postponed on account of the US entering the war. Blind luck. His account of his own response to the call is not heroic or exemplary. He is not what one would describe as a successful response to the call. Perhaps this is what the friar meant, that choosing a vocation may itself be a delusion. One could say blind luck led Merton to his vocation. A religious person might say otherwise, that Merton's true name was not on the draft board's notice. But once called, what did he do? He developed his legacy of contemplation, active contemplation in a world of violence. His legacy, therefore, is searching, tentative, exploratory, and open to multiple religious traditions, prayer, and practical philosophies. His failure was and remains productive. Openness to multiplicity, generosity, beseeching prayer, and courage to remain faithful even in the midst of heartbreaking failure. This is your legacy. In a very personal way, your care, love, and support have inspired and encouraged me. It has been my privilege to be a companion to you, and I thank you. Thank you for calling me. Tomorrow the bells will ring in Cambridge and in the Divinity School. They will call you to listen. Tomorrow when your name is called, it will be true. For the bells and their hope extend far beyond the halls and walls of this place. Tomorrow, see how love drew you here, and listen, for how it will draw you onwards. Lead on. I will follow you. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehekianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lizman hazeh. A prayer for new beginnings. With joy and sorrow, holding you in your excitement and anxiety, we launch you on this journey. May God bless all your choices. May it be the will of God to place love and awe in your heart. May the awe of God be before you all the days of your life, so that you will love goodness and seek justice. May you delight in words and music, in life and love. May you know, even in the moments when you felt most alone and unheard, that there are those of us who care very much about you and would ease your sorrow if we could. May your reasons to celebrate far exceed your reasons to grieve, but may you find the wisdom and strength and support you need to do both. We thank God for you have been a gift to our community. May you take our affection and appreciation on the journey ahead, and may you know true peace in your heart and in the world. Amen.
This day, setting aside all that divides me from others.
This day, remembering that the world is beautiful to those who are willing that it be so.
And that into the open, eager heart, the beauty enters in.
If love be there, this day, I will make a part of the song of life.
There may be grief, but if there is love, it will be overcome.
There may be pain, but it can be borne with dignity and courage.
There may be difficulty, but it can be turned into strength.
Remembering that the world is beautiful, if I will let it be so for others whom I meet.
This day, I will make a part of the song of life.
O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear me. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise, so that I may understand the things you have taught my people. Let me learn the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. I seek strength, not to be greater than my brother, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me always ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when life fades as the fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame.